Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial. Today I wanted to talk about installing Eset server protect on a Debian server. This is going to be installed on a Debian 11.6. So most of the available ISOs or even OVAs are prepared on CentOS, but we are gonna install everything on Debian today. So first of all, I'm just gonna check because I already downloaded the package, my SQL server package. This is version 8.0.32. Of course, there is probably a newer version right now, so you just have to go to my SQL website and check what's the newest version. And of course, download the Debian bundle tar file. So to download this, you will use this link. So dev.mysql.com, you have to go to this website, and then you need to go to the download sections and to MySQL 8.0 and find MySQL server, the newest version. Since I already have it, I'm not gonna download it again. So we are just gonna start with unpacking everything, and then we're gonna follow the next step after that. So I'm gonna unpack everything. Next, we're gonna install some additional libraries. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick reboot. So nothing is gonna be holding. Nothing's gonna be holding my apt hostage. Okay, should be fine now. Alright, next thing, what we're gonna do a dpkg preconfigure. So we're gonna preconfigure my SQL community server. So this here we're gonna have to establish our root password. So this is gonna be the main password that you're gonna use to connect to your MySQL. You need to remember this password because it's very important, because later on we're gonna also use it while we're gonna create a bash script, and we're gonna put this password in the bash script. So I'm just gonna use strong password encryption, of course, and there we go. Next step, I can do sudo apt get updates, so we're gonna get the updates. Of course, I prepared all the install steps, so I'm just copying and pasting, so it's faster than just typing everything. Now the upgrade. Since I always try to keep the version as new as possible, so I'm fetching the newest upgrade as well. Okay, so after this is done, we're gonna do again dpkg, and now we're gonna install some additional things like community client plugin, community client core, community client, community server core, everything of course 8.0.32. So I'm gonna do apt how to remove. I'm gonna choose this option to fix the install because it basically choked. And now after that we're gonna actually start the install again, and as you can see it's setting up everything. Okay, so now we're gonna go to a configuration file for MySQL, which is located in mysql.conf.d. It's called mysql.d.cnf, and at the end of this file we'll need to add some additional options. And now we're gonna restart the whole MySQL, and after that we're gonna do a systemctl status. I'm gonna check, and as we can see the MySQL is active and running, so everything is fine. Well, next step we're gonna install Unix ODBC drivers. So we're gonna do sudo apt get install Unix ODBC, because without it we won't be able to install later on our connector drivers. And now we're gonna go to the one of the most important steps of this whole installation. You need to download a specific connector to your database. So I have MySQL in version 8.0.32. I tried to download the newest connector, which was back at the time when I was actually doing this test. It was of course 8.0.32. I downloaded the LDBC connector and it wasn't working. Why it wasn't working? Well, later on I went to the Eset website and I read the database requirements, and it said on their website that you need to have actually ODBC in a version either 8.0.16 or 8.0.17. If you have different version, it won't work. So that's the easiest explanation to the little fuck up. So there we go. I'm gonna just use the 17 version. I'm gonna pull down the archive. Now we're gonna do benzip. Next we're gonna unpack everything. And we're gonna just navigate to the folder that was created. So now we are in the main folder of MySQL connector ODBC. Let's check what's here. So as you can see, we got like two main catalogs that we're gonna use, two main folders, the bin folder and the lib folder. These are the two folders that you're interested in. So we're gonna copy the whole content of the bin folder and of the lib folder. For that we're just gonna use sudo cp, and we're gonna copy everything that's in the bin folder to user local bin. And the same we're gonna do for the lib folder. I'm gonna copy it to user local lib. So if we go here to the bin section, we can check what's actually there. So I'm just gonna do cd here, I'm gonna do ls. So if you, as you can see, we got my ODBC installer, which is gonna be used for installing your ODBC drivers. This is the bin localization. Now we're gonna go to lib. So I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do ls, and as you can see, in the lib we got lib myodbc 8a, 8s, and 8w. So 8w and 8a are the two drivers that are you actually interested in installing. So this one and this one, we're gonna install both of those drivers. Of course, for that we're gonna use myodbc installer, so the one that is actually located here, right? So we're gonna use this, and we're gonna actually specify what's the name of the ODBC driver. So this is the name, and we need to show what's the path for the driver. So this is the path where the driver resides. And there we have it. It's a success, and the usage count is 1. After that, we're gonna install the other driver. So there's the other driver. So this was driver W, this is driver A. Usage count 1 with success. Okay, so now we can actually check if both drivers are installed. And there we go, we got drivers installed, and we can also go to, let's see, odb-inst.ini. There's an ini file, and there we have it. We got those two drivers installed. If I would now just scratch everything from here and erase everything and leave it blank, and then again I would repeat those two steps, those two drivers would again appear here. So this is like the main ini file where the drivers reside. Okay, so after all of this, we got the MySQL prepared, we got the connector prepared. Now we're gonna just install some additions that are required for the server. So this is the first addition that needs to be installed. Okay, after this we're gonna install OpenSSL. We're gonna at least check if it's in the newest version. Okay, now we're gonna install OpenSSL. I'm just gonna do some cleaning here because it's suggested, and I'm just gonna try to install once again, and we're gonna see everything's fine. Okay, after that we're gonna install Kerberos. So I'm gonna go for this. And what do we have here? We are configuring Kerberos authentication. So we got here a realm. So my realm is gonna be my domain. So my domain is ddr.local. This is my domain. And of course, what's the main Kerberos server for my realm, so for my domain. And of course, administrative server for your Kerberos realm. Again, the same thing. So this is my domain controller. I don't have it right now running, so because we are basically doing this only on a Debian server, I don't have my other virtual machine with my domain controller running at the moment. Okay, now we're gonna install another library that is required. After that, we're gonna install LDAP so LDAP utilities, and at the end, we're gonna install SNMP. Okay, I'm gonna clear the screen. So we're gonna see now we're gonna install LDAP utilities. And after this, SNMP. Okay, so now it's time to download the actual Eset server script. So we're gonna download it from download.eset.com. So you can go to this site. You need to go to apps and business, of course, era server, latest, and then you can download the latest script. Of course, after downloading the script to your server, you need to do chmod, so it will be available to work. Actually, you need to change the ownership. Maybe not the ownership, but permissions, sorry. You need to change the permissions so it can be executed. Okay, so now we're gonna do a chmod, and after that we're gonna create a additional server installer script in bash. Okay, and it will be something like this. So what do we have inside this script? So we're gonna call the main script that we just downloaded using, of course, sudo permissions. We're gonna skip the license, we're gonna choose the English version, we're gonna keep the database. Even if everything is being scratched from the server, the database is gonna be still there. That's the option that we're choosing. A database type is, of course, MySQL server. Database driver is the one that we specified before when installing ODBC. Database host name, in my case it's Debian, because that's the way my server is called. Database port, the basic port that is established for an Eset server. A database admin username, so this is root. Admin password, of course, so the one that you actually specified when you were installing MySQL at the beginning, the one that I said that you need to remember. So this is the password that I used. And here again we have the server root password, so this is the password that you're going to use when you're going to be logging into the Eset web console. So I'm setting both of those passwords as the same, and then I'm creating an era user, And for error user, I'm also using the same password. And now we have also certain hostname, certificate hostname that is gonna be synonymous with the Debian server IP address. So this server has this IP address. And at the end, I am using the option disable EMP program because I don't want to be involved in the EMP program. Of course, you can go to the Eset website, go to the database, and see what kind of options there are to pick, because there is quite a lot of them. You can include them in this script. And of course, when the install is gonna commence, all of those options are gonna be used, so it's up to you to choose the right ones. Okay, so we're gonna save the script. Now I'm gonna just run the script. Now we have to wait a little bit because it's gonna create the database. And after everything is set and done, we can then check the status of our error server service. So let's check the status of our service, if everything is actually up and running. And everything is up and running. So starting Eset protect server is active. Okay. So next thing, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna actually install Tomcat. First we're gonna install a JDK and then we're gonna install Tomcat because, well, the server is based on Tomcat. I tried to install Tomcat in version 10. It didn't actually work because again after that mishap I went to the manual. Of course I read, and in the documentation it said that the preferred version of Tomcat is version 9, so they are still using the old version of Tomcat, although we already have like version 11, I think. So you need to use version 9, otherwise you're gonna have a hiccup here and it's not gonna work. But if it goes to JDK, you can use the newest version. I didn't have any problems. I just installed the newest version of JDK and then I chose Tomcat version 9. Okay, so let's pull down JDK. I'm gonna pull it down from download.oracle.com, of course, latest. And it's gonna be a Debian file. Okay, almost done. And now we're gonna, of course, install the Debian file. Okay, so now I'm gonna use apt Okay, to remove. And it's installed. Okay, already the newest version. Fine. So now we're gonna actually create a directory for Tomcat, because I'm just gonna put Tomcat in my custom directory. I'm just gonna create it in OPT, and I'm gonna create a group that is called Tomcat, and I'm gonna user add group Tomcat. And now, after all of this, it's time to actually pull down Tomcat. So, because we are gonna use version 9, I had to go to archive, to the Apache archive. So this is archive.apache.org, and from there you can actually pick Tomcat 9 and the last version of Tomcat. It was 74, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, I'm just gonna, of course, unpack everything. Now we're gonna move the content of this unpacked folder to the OPT Tomcat, because this is the directory that it should be. Of course, we have to set the ownership, so we're setting the ownership of this folder to Tomcat. And now, the most important thing of all, we're gonna create a service. So the service is gonna be in systemd system, and it's gonna be called Tomcat service, of course. So this is the main Tomcat service. It's gonna be responsible for Tomcat, and it looks like this. So we got, of course, Apache Tomcat version 9, network target, of course, the service. And here you need to specify where your JDK is. My JDK is here, so just remember where you actually put it. So you need to change this. You need to check here if, of course, this is also how it should be. Of course, environmental Catalina home should be also specified. It's OPT Tomcat for me, right? Because I changed it. Okay, of course, the startup scripts and shutdown scripts. Well, also check the path. Well, I think that's it. I can actually save everything. Now we'll be just gonna reload the daemons. Reload them. Okay, now we're gonna start this daemon. Start daemon. Now we're gonna enable this daemon. Okay, there we go. Now let's go and check what we can actually hear. We can hear a port 8880 listening, right? Okay, we can hear port 8080 listening. So now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually secure Tomcat a little bit. So we're gonna go to OPT Tomcat conf and Tomcat users. I'm gonna open that. And at the end of this file, we need to go at the end. And here we're gonna add an additional line. And just to show you how the line actually looks like. So the line is gonna be something like this. So as you can see, we are choosing role name, which is going to be admin GUI, manager GUI, manager admin, and username is going to be admin. The password that's specified for, in my case, just a random bogus password, Tomcat password. You're going to put your own here. Roles, of course, we are managing roles like manager GUI, admin GUI, manager, and admin with those credentials, password, username, and password. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, I'm just gonna do it like that. I'm gonna save it. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go to web apps manager. We're gonna go to the manager area, meta-inf, and we're gonna go to context. So we're going to web apps right now, and we need to actually, some people say to remove this line, but I want to remove it. I'm just gonna comment it out. Doesn't matter. It's the same kind of stuff. So when it's commented out, it doesn't work. Okay, now we're gonna choose host manager as well, because we're gonna use also host manager, not only the manager but also host manager. So we're going to web apps host manager. I'm gonna do the same to the main line. Okay, saving, and now at the end we're just gonna restart Tomcat. Okay, so this stuff is done, so we can now just open Tomcat. Let's see, HTTP, right? Now it should be like, of course, my address, and it's gonna be port 88. So here we have our Tomcat, and of course this is the manager app and the host manager, so now they have both passwords, so they are at least a little bit protected. So here you have your main app, all the options, of course, but now I'm just gonna close it down, clear the screen a little bit. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna navigate to JDK, because we're gonna use it, so we are going to user lib JVM JDK 20 to the bin area, because that's where people is actually present. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a keychain with a self-signed certificate. So what I'm gonna use is, I'm using keytool. I'm gonna create and generate a self-signed certificate that is gonna be valid for like 10 years. Of course, if you have a certificate, SSL certificate that you bought for your domain, you can input it here as well. Store, so I have a store password, store pass. This is my store pass, right? This is my key pass. My key store, of course, I'm specifying where the key store is going to be located, so it's going to be located in OPT Tomcat conf, and it's called Tomcat key store JKS. And the most important thing about creating this key store, you need to change the type of the key store to PKCS12, right? So this is the store type that needs to be selected here. DN name, so of course it's gonna be here. I'm not specifying anything actually, because it's just Tomcat. If you have a bot domain name, you can input the domain name here, right? So you can specify it here. I'm not doing that at the moment. Okay, so I'm just gonna create everything. Now we can go here to this path, just check if the key store has been created. And there we go, here is our key store. Okay, so of course the default key store type depends mainly on the JDK version. The latest version of Java creates a PKCS12 type, however the older ones a JKS type. Tomcat uses connectors to configure specific features. A connector represents an endpoint by which requests are received and responses are returned. The default HTTP connector uses version HTTP 1.1 and listens to the port 8080. But if the HTTPS protocol is being used, then it redirects to the 8443 port. Similarly, the secure HTTPS protocol should be configured via a connector. Tomcat 10 will drop support for the SSL configuration attributes in the connector. Okay, so this is for Tomcat 10, right? Because if you checked up my channel, in my previous video, I have actually showed how you can secure Tomcat in version 10, and I have configured quite a lot of things with it as well. So if you want to check that video up, go ahead. Here we have Tomcat in version 9 because that's the one that is requested in Eset. But still I am using the store type that's supposedly taken in Tomcat 10 as a new type that is recognized, so I'm using this one. Okay, so what's left? We need to actually now change the connector. So for that I'm gonna open server.xml. And here we need to just go to HTTPS, right? It's here. So you got HTTPS. Just gonna do some space here, and I'm gonna input my connector here. This is how it's gonna look. Just to show you. It looks something like this. So you got the connector port, you got the protocol that is specified. Max thread, you can change it if you want. SSL enabled true. Schema, it's of course HTTPS secure, it's true. And of course certificate key store file, so we are giving the path to the key store file, so it's in the conf folder. It's JKS, so the proper extension that it should be. Then we have of course the certificate key password that needs to be specified for the key store, which is this one, the one that I actually specified, and type is RSA, of course. So this is how it looks, and this is where it should be actually specified. Of course, if you have your own SSL, it's just a matter of putting it in the right place and giving it the password, and that's all. Of course, it would be good just to get rid of all of those connectors, because to be honest, you're not using anything, not using any of them. So if you would like to just get rid of all the mess that is not being used, you can just scratch all of this mess, because none of it is gonna be used, and the server.xml is gonna be a little bit shorter. I would say it's best practice, but it's not. It's just common practice. Because I think many people do the same kind of stuff just to make it look a little bit shorter and cleaner and better. Okay, so we could also drop this thing. I don't know. It's not gonna be used. Okay. After this spring cleaning, I'm just gonna get out here and we're gonna restart our Tomcat. Okay, so we can go to our website, and of course now if we change to port 8443, we need to of course give it like HTTPS here, and we're gonna have it secured with our self-signed certificate. Of course, if you want to make instant redirect, because you would like to actually secure all of your sites, so not only this one, the main one, but all of the sites like this site, right? And you want to make a permanent redirection from port 8080 to port 8443, then you can check my previous video on Tomcat when I was showing how to do all of this stuff. So I'm not gonna repeat it here because there is no point. We are installing right now something else. But if you're curious how to do it, you can always visit my channel and look it up. Okay, so Tomcat is set up right now. What's the next step actually in installing our server? So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna pull down error var. So we're gonna download Eset.com, and from there we're gonna again go to apps, business, era, and now we're going to the web console because we are gonna pull the, of course, archive, or sorry, not archive, but the application, the app for era web console. So it's called era.var, of course. Latest, it's in the latest folder. So we're gonna pull this down. And there are actually two ways how you can do it. You can either download this file to your server, like I'm doing it right now, or you can just download it, let's say, to your computer. If you are actually connected to the server, to the Debian server, or whichever server you're doing this on, even if it's at CentOS, you can just connect through PowerShell or whatever, or PuTTY or whatever, and if you're on Windows, you can of course go here to this link. You can download ERAVAR, and you can just open the main window of Tomcat. You can go to Manager App, and here in the app section, in the application section, you would choose a var file to deploy. So of course you would need to choose from here the var file that you want to deploy. If you are on Windows, you're just gonna choose this option. You're gonna choose the era.var, and then you're gonna press deploy, and it's gonna be deployed here under the applications. Of course, just bear in mind that you need to also change some stuff in Tomcat, because I think the default option here is only 50 megs that can be actually deployed or chosen, so you need to change this to at least 200, because era.var has like 100 something megabytes. So just remember about that, because you won't be able to use this option unless you change the capacity in the Tomcat. Okay, so let's see what do we have right now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna now copy our era.var to opt Tomcat webapps, and I'm gonna restart Tomcat. Okay, so now I'm just gonna scratch this. I'm gonna go to Manager app, and there we have our era. As you can see there, it's running, right? So we can open it up, and here is our web console. Now after this, well, we can actually log in here. So I'm just gonna try this. And of course, if it goes to, I'm gonna skip. If it goes to the password, of course, the password was the one that we chose in our server installer script, right? So I'm just gonna open it once again. Like I said before, server root password, this is the password that was specified for logging into the web console. Just bear in mind, yeah? Okay. And we are in. We have successfully set up the web console. We have successfully set up the era server main server, right? Since we have no computers here added, you can always deploy the agent from here from computers. And add a device, add a computer, computer name. Mine is just Debian. No description, I guess. Select tags, that's not needed, I think. We're gonna take all, add, okay. Let's go to tasks. We're gonna take a new task. I'm gonna be a server task, of course. Let's click on agent, deploy, right? Run the task immediately. Continue. Wait, select tag. Sorry, the task agent deployment. No, this is not needed. Okay, continue. Now we're gonna choose the target, of course. It's gonna be my computer. So we're gonna put the agent on Debian. What's the username? Well, this is my username. It's a root, of course. Here I'm putting on the password, the main password of my Debian server. Yeah, Eset protect certificate, right? If you have a custom certificate, you can change it here. I'm not gonna participate in anything. We're just gonna finish here. Okay, so now we can just go to agent deployment, and the task is running, because I can see it's running on one computer. We're gonna wait until it actually finishes. Sorry about the view, but I have a split screen right now and I only have a small screen. That's why everything looks like it looks, unfortunately. You can always audit the logs. Okay, so it's gonna take a little bit time. Right, so the agent has been deployed to our server. And there is one more option that you can actually use, because if we go to MySQL, and we're gonna do, of course, show databases. As you can see, the main database is ERA-DB, right? So would be nice to have some kind of a different environment that you can actually use just to maintain this database, so you won't have to use this MySQL and typing in everything. So let's just try to actually install an addition. Oh, let's check how is it going. Maybe we can like refresh everything. Need to go again. And as you can see, successfully finished on one computer. Okay. Yeah. Accept. So before maybe we're gonna install this. Let's check. So there you go, you have ERA agent installed as well. And it's active and it's running. Okay, so going back to my previous thing that I wanted to install, so there is an old project called OmniDB. If you haven't heard about it, you can always check it up on the internet. It's an old one. I don't know if it's anymore. I don't know if it's supported anymore. I think it's not. So you can download it from FTP. This is the FTP that I'm using right now for Debian. I'm downloading the newest version that was supplied, which is 3.0.3, and it's a Debian file, of course. I'm gonna install this. Alright, so this is how it looks. Now what we are gonna do, we're gonna create another self-signed certificate, but this time we're gonna specify it for OmniDB. So this is how it looks. It's the key and the certificate. It's gonna be created. We're gonna specify it for our IP address, at least in my case, because it's a self-signed. I'm gonna also create a snippet. Okay, first of all, before we actually create snippets, we need to install Nginx. Sorry about that. So we're gonna install Nginx because I wanted to create something that doesn't exist. Okay. Now we're gonna do it like that. We're gonna create a new file, a new snippet that has, of course, our certificate and the key. Another self-signed, another one, another snippet, SSL parameters. So all the parameters for SSL. Now we're gonna navigate to Nginx conf.d, and here we're gonna create a configuration file for OmniDB, and it's gonna look something like this. So we're gonna use SSL, we're gonna use self-signed certificates, we're gonna use SSL parameters. This is my root path to my OmniDB. The server name is this. I can use it. Client max size body is this, of course, and we are using proxy, right? Proxy pass here. So now let's actually, okay, after that, what we will need to do, we are gonna install pip, because this is also required here. Otherwise, if you would skip this and you would actually go straight to your OmniDB site, and you would log in and you would try to connect to your database, you would get an error. It would say that your database is not supported, MySQL is not supported, or something like this. So you need to first install pip, and then with pip you need to install Spartacus MySQL, and only then it will actually connect and work like it should. Okay, I'm just gonna install now this. Okay, and well, after all of this mess, we just need to reboot, unfortunately. Sometimes it is required. Okay, so we are back. Let's check. That's fine. That's fine as well. So both the agent and the server are working, and we can of course check right now our newest addition, so OmniDB. So for this I'm just gonna use again HTTPS, and I'm gonna go to, well, I have a domain name specified right now, so I can use and this is how it looks, right? Admin, admin, you can sign in. So this is OmniDB. This is connection, where you manage your connections to the databases that you actually want to add for easier management. So I've used my domain name, right? Because I actually have it set it up like that. If you don't, you can just input your IP address here and should be fine as well, because that's, well, basically it's up to you how you set it up in Nginx, right? I set it up like this for easier management. Okay, so let's go to connections, new connection. So here we need to specify the connection type, which is going to be MySQL, the server name, server, so we need to specify here the IP address of the server, the port, which is 3306, of course. This is yeah, the database was era underscore db. The user of the database, well, the user for the database, I would need to just go and check once again. Let's check what we had actually here. Okay, so this is the password and this should be the user, right? So I should use root. Okay, so let's try root, and now let's try. Okay, now let's test it. I'm gonna see. Okay, so it asks for the password. Okay, all right. So just gonna check the connection here. Maybe let's try it once again. And I'm just gonna choose all the credentials. Okay, I'm gonna save it. So this is our database. You can always edit it here again if you wish. You can connect to it like this. And of course now, if you want to go inside the database, you need to input the right password, right? So I was certain that the password is actually this, right? Database admin password, the one that I'm actually using to go to MySQL, should be here. Well, it's not. And it's not, right? It's not. So let's actually do another connection. MySQL. I'm gonna call it user. I'm gonna pick the server, pick the port, database, and the user is gonna be just error user. Debian. Okay. Save it. And this is the user. And let's go to the user. And there we go. User works as a charm. So I guess root didn't have some kind of privileges probably. So this is how it looks. This is the error database tables, right? In the database, views, functions, procedures, quite a lot of different stuff, right? You got the console here, you got queries here, you can do the queries. You can simple graph, complete graph. Let's see, complete graph. Well, okay. Cancel. Maybe let's check the simple one. Okay, well, simple is not that simple, I guess. Maybe not for my view here. Okay, you can alter database. You can drop database. Okay, not, of course not. Other databases. Refresh. We got columns here. Primary keys for all the other stuff, indexes. Okay, so this is basically OmniDB. If you would like to use it, this is how it looks. If you're interested in this project, you can always visit, read the docs, read the documentation, right? So OmniDB, this is the documentation for it. You can use OmniDB website, right? I don't think it actually exists anymore. Yeah, I think this project was long forgotten. Last update was in 2020, so yeah, quite a lot of time. And that was the last beta version that was released in 2020. But for some people it might be still handy to use. Okay, so I guess I will conclude my video because we have like probably an hour right now. Okay, so if you of course liked my video, like, subscribe. If you feel like being a supporter to my channel, consider the link that is in my description. Okay, so thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. See you.